Good rising, everyone. I wanted to share a few things. One is I'm definitely in a different stage where the history is different, and then the second one was just a so obvious to me. It got me giggling because of things going off script in this play that we're in. And anyhow, wanted to share that someone came over last night and they were talking about all the recent rain, and the lovely lady and I a week or so ago had gone to sorry, I just got a notification. Had gone to the local lakes just to hang out I've been craving being by the shore, by the water so badly. I need a reset. But all the parks were closed because I was like, why would they be closed? But all the lakes are at they overflowed, and the trees, the water came up to the trees, and that was something I did not understand. How did the water, I thought maybe, I don't know, I was explaining it away that maybe the tributaries leading to the dammed waters from other states or something came here or something. But anyhow, then a gaming night the other night, the park behind the place, the guy I went walking with referred to the flood. I was like, what flood? And the week before, or I don't even know if it was a week, there was a flood. The river had flooded over, and he pointed to how high it got. And again, it was, a couple feet up the stump. And the tree stumps, not tree stumps, tree trunks. And I'm used to bouncing around where people have different weathers and whatever. But this is the first time where the weather was so rainy for the people here, and I did not experience it. I've had that happen before where people from other places will say, oh, I heard about all the snow, and there was no snow. I heard about the cold spell, like I was in a tank top, so, but this weather that they had was lots of rain where it flooded places. And then I have a dear friend, I'm not sure if this is related or not, whose family home got flooded, and they do live near river, so who knows? I don't know if it came through a manhole cover or whatever. I don't know the full details of that one. But then we had a friend over last night, and she confirmed how much it was raining, and it's just interesting, that people's history are not only the histories can be different, but the very, very, very current history can be different. Actually, the present can be different while we're both experiencing the same things. Anyhow, so that was one thing. The other thing is I do believe that we're each in our own bubble in a play, and that we're each other's castmates. So we can affect, it's like an improv scenes in plays. And okay, so, I'm craving community, and metaphysically, I get ants in my room. So not thrilled about them. So I go to a hardware store and I'm asking about holistic ways to take care of them and have them not be invading my space here as I'm watching one crawl on the ceiling. Anyhow, this next part goes with the ending of the story, or part of the story. But basically, when I walk into this small hardware store, there's two workers semi-blocking the door. So I have to, ask them to move so I can be let in. Then there's one or two cashiers to my left. Then there's another worker who welcomed me, asked if I needed any help. He brought me to the correct aisle. I had one too many questions about ants, so he got another person who was by the front door to come and join me so that he could more properly answer my questions. And then he was asking me to describe the ants, and I said, well, they're different kinds. I think they're from the same colony, but they have different sizes, my belief. Totally not scientific belief, but I'm thinking they're from the same colony, and they just have different roles because there's only a few larger ants with wings, where the rest of them are smaller, and then you have your scout ants. I don't know if these are the appropriate names, but whatever. And whatever is a word from this timeline. I hate that word. And this body of mine is using that word so often. Fortunately, this body is not whatevering people, but people from here are saying whatever. It's so dismissive, so rude. I don't know. Anyhow, I just used the word whatever, so that's why I interrupted myself, but whatever. No, I'm just kidding. Anyhow, so I was talking about some of the ants have wings, and he was just like, what? And they're not termite shaped, at least from my birth earth things, but they're seemingly in collaboration with the other ants. So I'm thinking that they're ants with wings, and I looked it up, and ants can have wings here, but he had never heard of that. So it's interesting that he's more specialized with, you know, these creatures to help me in the hardware store, but he'd never heard of it, so I couldn't help myself. I asked him, I said, oh yeah, I'm part of this club where we talk about these new things on this world we never knew about. And so he was interested, and then I said it's called the Mandela effect. This part was kind of confusing to me because normally the fellow castmates of this play that I'm in, if you use the line Mandela effect, that's a cue for them to exit stage and or to change the script. But so this guy got the look like his face got like blanched and then turned red. And I thought, nope, his higher self or God or the creator saying, nope, don't go down this road. But his words, his free will was totally coming into play, almost like he's wriggling out, trying to pop his head out. And he wanted to know more. So I started talking more. But then the director of the play or the producer did a phone call and said, wah, we got to change it up. They are going off script. So it was like, it was so surreal to observe all this. This is what it looked like. So once he asked to know more about the Mandela effect, and he could see some changes, like the fist, you know, to the head. For me, it started off here, but for him, it was here. But we barely touched it. Just that was the only example, and he'd already seen. But then, boom, we hear a voice that was, you know, are there any cashiers here? Is anyone here? So he excused himself, went to the end of the aisle, and looked, and then his head's looking all around like, where is everybody? So, and then he excused himself, he had to leave. And so I walked down the aisle to where he was, and I look around, there are no more workers anywhere to be seen. So obviously the director sent all the castmates home or, you know, off stage so that this guy who went off script with the Mandela effect question was forced to take care of these two customers who are also actors, two customers that were up front. So I'm just like smiling at this point. And so I stand in line behind the two customers. The first customer is this tall guy with broad shoulders, and the second guy in line is kind of tinkering with some things. So he's, so if I were in a box, wink, it'll make sense in a minute. This guy is in front of me. There's shelving to the right of me, and then the second customer was to the left of me, in front of me, and I make the fourth wall. That is so perfect. I make the fourth wall. That's a theatrical term when the audience is aware, or the people in the cast are talking to the audience of the theater, when normally the cast pretends that they cannot see the fourth wall. Anyhow, so I was in the fourth wall position of this part of the stage, and so the guy in front of me is blocking me. I can't see the guy who's the worker, who's now the cashier, but I just want to say one more thing to him. I said, you know that club I just welcomed you to? Well, there's also this thing that everything will work hard to not let you talk about it if you're not supposed to. And while I'm trying to say that, the tall guy in front of me, the quote customer, when I turn my head to the left to be able to see around the tall guy, the guy moves his feet and shifts, pun intended, to the left. And so the first couple times it was annoying, because then I go to the right as I'm trying to talk, just moving my head, and you know, this guy's back is to me, but the timing of it was very synchronicical. And he's literally blocking me from being able to see the cashier, and vice versa. So after like the fifth time, I didn't even ask. I just called him on it, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, you're purposely doing that, aren't you?" And he turns around, or you know, half turns around with his left shoulder and head, and he is all smiles, and he is lit up from the inside out, and he goes, "Yes, I'm supposed to block you." It was so hilarious. It was so hilarious. It's all on purpose. He just wasn't supposed to talk to the leading character. He was supposed to be a background person. I think the people that are in our lives are speed bumps on purpose to have us go or not go on a path that we're scripted to go. And I don't think it's necessarily an evil script, our initial script. I think, you know, when some of us feel like we're here on a mission, the mission could just be simply what our essence or soul or spirit, whatever you want to call it, that our essence was here to do. It's like, Jen, let's work on boundaries. And I had so many issues where they crossed my boundaries, physically and non-physically. So, you know, I've been getting lots of opportunities to learn. I'm sure the ones in my later decades are going, really? You still haven't learned? I can't believe I'm having to step in as a fellow castmate to teach you this because you've had so much practice. Anyhow, it's just all my theories, but I'm more and more believing them, that the people around us are just, at this point, it's so obvious that they are, if you listen to their words, it's, if they have complaints, you can see, or I can, it seems very obvious that they're talking about themselves when they're complaining about another person or situation. Or if they're appreciating something, it's something that's very obvious that they have in them, within themselves. And so then I was like, oh, apply it to yourself, Jen. So now I'm looking at my surroundings and things that I don't like, you know, or things that I need to work on. Just little things like someone just standing at my door without knocking, or now knocking so softly that I cannot hear, but they're officially following what I asked. of them. That's just maybe so that I'm not so Pavlov trained reactionary to perceived threats from before. Because, when I was a little kid, that was dangerous to have someone standing at my doorway. That meant really bad things were coming my way. So, and that played out. It continued to play out within my marriage, and even with the neighbor who was a police officer across the hall, and he came through the door unannounced. So, oh my gosh! And then I've had 2 different home invaders things. So I've had plenty of opportunities to speak up and secure my boundaries just by using my voice. So anyhow, I love you. All the bad things happening, I think, are twofold. I think we've graduated to a level where we can handle the harder lessons, and also, I said it was twofold. Sometimes we need our lessons to speak even more loudly or more caricaturish because we were not listening. So who knows? I have a friend that we're on the phone a lot, and he talks about how he and his wife are mirroring each other, and there's a connection of what was going on. So, I'm still a student and just an experiencer, but pay attention to what's being said around you. And I think we can soften each other's lives as we keep moving forward and on upward. I love each and every one of you, and thank you for being here now with me. You are a beautiful reflection and guides. Thank you.